Christopher Columbus. The very name conjures images of vast oceans, uncharted lands, and daring voyages. He is a figure shrouded in both admiration and controversy, a man who changed the course of history, yet remains an enigma even centuries later. Born in Genoa, Italy in 1451, Columbus dared to dream of a westward route to the east, a revolutionary concept at a time when most believed the Earth to be flat. His voyages, fraught with perils and uncertainties, ushered in an era of exploration and discovery that would forever alter the relationship between Europe and the Americas. Yet Columbus's legacy is complex and multifaceted. While celebrated for his navigational prowess and determination, he is also condemned for the exploitation and suffering inflicted upon the indigenous populations he encountered. This is the story of Christopher Columbus, the visionary explorer, the flawed human, and the enduring enigma. The bustling port city of Genoa, with its labyrinthine streets and vibrant marketplace, provided the backdrop for Columbus's early years. Born into a family of wool weavers, he likely received a rudimentary education while absorbing the sights and sounds of maritime life. The sea, with its promise of adventure and unknown horizons, held a particular allure for the young Columbus. He embarked on his first sea voyage at a young age, honing his navigational skills and developing a deep fascination with cartography and astronomy. These early experiences ignited within Columbus a thirst for exploration, a desire to venture beyond the familiar and chart new paths across the vast expanse of the ocean. It was during these formative years that the seeds of his ambition were sown, seeds that would eventually blossom into his audacious plan to reach the east by sailing west. The allure of the East, with its fabled riches and exotic spices, captivated the imagination of Europeans in the 15th century. The overland route, however, was fraught with danger and exorbitant tolls, controlled by rival powers. Columbus, a student of geography and astronomy, conceived of a daring alternative, sailing westward across the Atlantic Ocean to reach the Indies. This idea, while seemingly audacious, was rooted in his belief that the Earth was a sphere, smaller than commonly thought. Securing patronage for such an ambitious expedition proved a formidable challenge. After years of seeking support, Columbus finally convinced Queen Isabella I of Spain to finance his voyage. Driven by a potent mix of faith, ambition, and perhaps even greed, Columbus set sail in 1492, embarking on a journey that would change the world forever. On August 3, 1492, Columbus set sail from Palos de la Frontera, Spain, with 3 small ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. The journey was fraught with challenges, from treacherous storms to dwindling supplies, testing the crew's endurance and resolve. Weeks turned into months as the ships sailed westward, the vastness of the Atlantic stretching endlessly before them. Mutiny simmered among the crew, fearful of sailing off the edge of the world. Yet, Columbus, driven by his unwavering belief, pressed on, his determination unwavering. Section 5. Landfall. But where? After more than 2 months at sea, land was finally sighted on October 12, 1492. Columbus, believing he had reached the East Indies, claimed the land for Spain, naming it San Salvador. The indigenous people he encountered, the Taino, were friendly and welcoming, exchanging goods with the newcomers. Columbus explored the surrounding islands, which he named the Indies, convinced that he had reached his destination. He established the first Spanish colony in the Americas, laying the foundation for future colonization efforts. While Columbus died believing he had reached Asia, he had, in fact, stumbled upon a new world, forever altering the course of history and geography. Section 6. Second Voyage, Seeds of Discontent. Columbus returned to Spain a hero, his discoveries sparking immense excitement and ushering in an era of exploration. In 1493 he embarked on his second voyage, this time with a fleet of 17 ships and over 1,000 men, tasked with establishing a permanent Spanish presence in the New World. This voyage, however, marked a turning point in Columbus's relationship with the Americas. The promise of riches and the realities of colonization led to conflict with the indigenous populations. The seeds of exploitation and enslavement were sown, casting a dark shadow over Columbus's legacy. Section 7. Third Voyage, Shadows over Paradise. Columbus's third voyage, undertaken in 1498, took him further south, where he explored the coast of South America. This voyage, however, was plagued by misfortune and discontent. The colony he had established on Hispaniola was in disarray, plagued by disease, rebellion, and accusations of mismanagement against Columbus. Stripped of his governorship and returned to Spain in chains, Columbus faced disgrace and imprisonment. Despite his fall from grace, he remained convinced of the value of his discoveries and the potential riches of the New World. Section 8, Fourth Voyage, Stranded on Jamaica. In 1502, Columbus was granted permission for a fourth and final voyage, driven by a desire to clear his name and find a westward passage to Asia. This voyage proved to be his most perilous yet. Plagued by storms and shipworm infestations, Columbus and his crew were stranded on the island of Jamaica for a year. Rescued and returned to Spain in 1504, Columbus was a shadow of his former self. His health broken and his reputation tarnished, he died in relative obscurity in 1506. Section 9, Legacy, A World Transformed. Christopher Columbus's legacy is complex and contested. He is celebrated as a visionary explorer, a skilled navigator, and the man who opened up the Americas to European exploration and colonization. His voyages ushered in an era of global exchange, transforming the world in profound ways. However, Columbus's arrival in the Americas also had devastating consequences for the indigenous populations. The introduction of diseases, forced labor, and cultural disruption decimated native populations and left an indelible mark on the history of the Americas. Today, Columbus's legacy is viewed through a more critical lens. While his navigational achievements are acknowledged, his role in the exploitation and suffering inflicted upon indigenous peoples is condemned. He remains a controversial figure, a reminder of the complex and often tragic consequences of exploration and colonization.